Well, hello everyone and welcome back. Here's where we're at on the Viper. I kind of been just trucking along and haven't filmed anything in a little bit. We got the white down. I used a, what is this, Anita's Pale Gray. So a little bit of an off-white with a gray in it. So that came out good, and I sealed it with a clear coat. Seeing some seam lines, but a little bit of a flub up here, but I think most of this canopy is going to cover that. And then you got your red stripe, your orangish stripe going down here, so that'll be fine. But all in all, I'm liking it. And then I went through here and did a real watered down gunmetal, because when it's watered down, it moves away almost like a wash. And then I can see a little bit of the white underneath, so it kind of gives it like a weathered metal look. So that came out good. I think I'm going to leave this on for a while. I think I'm actually going to even decal this thing separate, because I don't want to... I'm trying to think of like the clears in here. I want more of a satin, but eventually this is going to get a flat. And I want the interior to have a little more of a satin feel to it. I believe that's what I sprayed it with. So I'm going to try to keep that covered for a while, because even if you put the canopy on, there's no clear glass. It's just a 3D print. So there's no way to protect that. I went and painted the canopy as silver, kind of give it an aluminum look, and then I'm going to mist it with the hull color to bring it into the color world. But I wanted it to look like it was like an aluminum kind of canopy. But I think what I'm going to do to solve the whole canopy solution is actually I don't need this to raise up. I mean, it'd be cool, and I might see if I can still do it, but being that there's such a difference in this curve here, the way that dips down at these points, and they didn't build that on this 3D print. But if I actually glue the canopy down, I can kind of give it a little squish because it's flexible. And it actually fits when you do that. So we'll see when I get to that. That's the big unknown. Just kind of trucking without trying to think about it too much, because otherwise I was just sitting here thinking, what can I do to do this? But trying to build on to a little bit. I don't, add a little styrene there, but then if this was plastic, it'd be one thing, but then the super glue on styrene onto this is just not gonna, I don't think gonna do it. It'd be too brittle. So I'll just have it permanently down. And then on the back half, she is all painted. I started doing the guns. Right now this doesn't have a clear coat. This does. And then I'm going to do some detail on the barrel parts. But for right now I got the white on there and the gunmetal. And the back half of the engines, they're just sitting in there. I got them, I painted that a gunmetal, and then painted this area here white so it'll all match in when it snaps in. I'm finding out I'm gonna have to so this is, I painted that lip there, so I'm finding out I'm gonna have to paint these edges a gunmetal. That way you don't see them when you're looking through that. So we'll do that. But yeah, I'm just painting this bottom half white. I do have to hit with some gunmetal on the back edge, because you do still see that from this way. So that's basically where we're at. I'm going to keep on trucking here. Just wanted to show a little update where we're at. This, I want to get this part here finished. I don't know if I'm going to do any little details. Might hit some of these caps with a little bit of a silver. Or maybe a copper spot there, here and there. But I know there wasn't too much detail back as far as color. Most of it's going to be in here. I'm going to come in here with the gunmetal really washed out, so it'll fade and show some of the white. And then the pipings are going to be different copper tones that I like to say. I got bronzes and antique bronze, regular bronze, and a worn penny copper that all look good together to give different tones. I used it a lot on the Anakin's Pod Racer with all the piping to give difference in tone of color. Kind of make some of them look worn, you know, with the worn penny. And so that's where we're at. Well, hello everyone and welcome back. I just wanted to do a little update on where we're at. Not sure if my last update I showed the front nose is done. Did that in a gray. Tried to match the decal as much as possible, but I might even give it a white mist like I'm going to on this part. I already did a white mist on the engine parts. Did it in a gunmetal, did a black, then a gunmetal, and then detailed some parts, and then misted it with the hull color. So that's that, and then guns are done. I don't think I'm going to mist them with the hull color. I think I'm going to leave them brilliant. But the engine parts here that I did in a gunmetal, and then went through and detailed some of the piping in copper. Did a bronze on those little square details. And I thought about, I don't know if I want to hit that one other pipe, maybe in a different shade. Oh, I still got to get these that are coming across here. So that's a good thing that I just looked. Yep. I think I'm going to do those in off like a galvanized tin. So it's a different than the gunmetal, but it's not as standing out as the copper, but it won't be a chrome as well, or a silver. It'll be a little deeper. So yeah, that's what I'm going to probably do next, so I can get a clear coat across this thing again, and then I can start decaling it, because I think I'm going to decal this in separate halves, because I want to keep protecting this cockpit area until, you know, I can get the decals down and hit it with a clear, and then I can do a complete wash on this and weathering, and then hit it with the mat, and then we can attach it, because then we got to get those wires in there, and then wires up from the base, because I think I'm going to wire the base. These are just on there. Yeah, I think I'm going to wire the base so I can tuck and hide the wires in the legs. Let me grab that part. So I can tuck the wires up in here, and I do have to cut this piece. I want to cut this a little shorter so it's harder to see under, and then maybe even make a notch where the wires come in. One wire, the negative's gonna come up one side, and the positive's gonna come up the other side, and they'll be hidden. And I might even paint this underside black once I run those wires. So, and that's that. But I figured that would be the best way, is to get this all wired up, this tube attached, and then have the wires sticking out. Then put her down, then mount her. Get all that bonded together, and then I can do the wiring. And then tuck all that back in and close that up, and it's done. So I think that's going to be my approach on this one. Normally I would just have the wiring done coming out of the ship and just feed it through, but since we got to do some hiding, I don't want to have to do all that work while I have this model hanging on here. It'd be much easier to have this, and once this is mounted, then it's mounted. And we'll do all the clear coats and everything, it's, you know, washes and everything while it's off of this, and then mount it. later. So that's where we're at. Next time we come back, we should have decals on. I do have to finish that detail on those pipes, and then I want to mist it with a little bit of hull color to bring that contrast down, because right now it's kind of extreme, where I want it a little more blending in like the engines are. So we'll just give it a little light. Like I said, these guns are just sitting on there. We'll give it a light mist of the hull color, and that kind of brings contrast down. And that's kind of what they did with the miniatures as well. But until then, see you soon. Well, hello and welcome back. We are all decaled up. Decaled and got a clear coat. Just put a clear coat on that part. This one I did yesterday. We got some bubbling, but that's to be expected. These decals were fragile in areas, especially the orange. These grayish ones weren't so bad. They held in and stuck together. Thank God for, because they had to go over this circle, and so if those were breaking apart, that would have been really much a pain in the butt. This one, she started chipping there, which chips I don't mind, because I can add to the weathering aesthetics. But she cracked in like several places right here. Never, I don't believe fully came apart. Maybe in one spot here, I can't remember. I think right there it might have. And then these are just like stress cracks, like coming off this side. But I got it to line up and lay all together, and then, got it shrunk down and let it set overnight to make sure it completely dried. This one bubbled a little bit too. This one not so much. That's alright. It'll add to the weathering and wear and tear to it. And it's really more apparent, the bubbling, now that it's in a semi-gloss for the weathering, for the washes and stuff. But once it gets down to a flat, it won't be so noticeable, because you won't get the glares. The bottom orange one went down fine. These two. That went down nice. And these, relatively went down nice. I had some chipping there, which, like I said, no big deal. For old decals, it sat down over that detail not too bad. There's still some little raised spots, but nothing big. This one broke and right up there and chipped out, but I'll leave that for a, damage. One thing with these, put this orange stripe and these two orange stripes on, and that'll give you your distance for the gray. I started doing that, and then I'm like, oh, there's got to be an orange stripe on here, and that'll give you your distance, because then you can push that right up against, and then have this gray touch that, and then wrap it around. Also, the way they had it lined up is they don't go all the way around. You can see there's an opening where the decal does not wrap all the way around. As you can, there you go. You see there. So those actually going inside, because the body will hide it, which is kind of smart. Now the top ones, they only come down to like there, so I hope the body covers most of that. Yeah, this bottom one here really shattered. It like completely shattered everything. Like sometimes they'll break in if it breaks in 3 pieces, you have like 3 bigger size pieces to put together. This totally shattered. I just said there's no way. All that where it's white there, all that area there, shattered in a million pieces. So I was like, no biggie. Let's just line it up the best we can, and we'll make that chip outs too. So that's the nice thing about these spaceships and being damaged. You can kind of work that in with these old decals. But all in all, I can't complain for 97, I think this kit is, because this is the Revell Monogram version. So this is probably like the second, maybe the second reprint. just new boxing and stuff. Tooling is pretty much the same. Like I said, the only other thing is they probably had a dart come out of that on the original Monogram, like the Cylon Raiders had the two. So it's off to doing a wash. I wonder if I should glue these guns on first. Probably. And this is going to be the very last, the canopy, which looked good. I did this in a silver, and then I just misted it with white, so it kind of has that little different contrast and difference to the regular hull of the ship to show that this is like a metal piece. The inside I did silver too. Whatever overspray got in there helped tone it down so it doesn't look like a complete silver canopy. But you can see the silver coming through the pale gray. And this one's done too in detail. We just gotta get this a wash. And this we'll probably do separate because this is going to be one of the last things to go on because of the fact that we got to go in here and do the wiring. And I'm going to have the wires attached to the base and then stick the base in, attach the ship to the base, and then do the wiring. But I just wanted to give you an update. I'm going to start doing a wash and then maybe do some pastels like I did on the Cylon to give it some of that panel line streaking. And we'll see how it turns out.